And welcome back once again, homies, to the NACL. I am Ravishing Ravish, the most ravishing man on the internet, joined here for a very first time this season, alongside some homies of Destrux and BDB. Dextrux, how we feeling, baby?
I'm feeling great, man. It's a reunion that I've been waiting for, getting to share a desk with you, Ravish. We go back, baby, so I'm pumped. Beatdown, how are you feeling?
Woo. I'm pumped now. I did not think we were going to start this show this hot. I'm going to be real. I thought we were going to ramp it up.
Get hotter, baby. Get hotter.
Hey, we'll save it for the games, bro. Come on.
Come on, Nate. You've been on a desk with me enough time to know that we start up here and it is all downhill from there.
Yeah, right.
You got me there.
That's things are not getting better. But you know what though? We should probably continue to keep up the energy and look towards, how we got here. Just talk a little bit about just great things that we've seen, right? Overall, with our play of the week that we'll get to see in a couple of seconds. Gentlemen, do you have any ideas who it is? One word. Desrix, do you know?
Well, I mean, I got the show timer right here. It says Meech, so I'm just gonna say Meech.
I also see the name Meech.
It was supposed to be a surprise. Well, yeah.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Ask me again, quick. We got 10 seconds.
Who is it? Who do you think it is?
I'm getting something. An 80 carries. Rhymes with speech. It's Meech.
Oh my god, you might be correct. It is indeed speech rhymes with Meech. Let's go look at that.
We get for the rest of the game. Feel like we got to take it. Perry jumps on in. A chunk Sazel, but Bacon, he's trying to base, reset, get back in. This ends up finding the most insane angle on the Poppy as they combo it with Meech's ultimate and end up melting everyone on the side of Cincinnati Fear. Really well done by Bacon and Meech to sync up, and everything's gravy after that. No mana on the Ziggs, and it's a freebie for the side of Meech. It's an assist from the turret, help out with the pentakill.
This man is disgusting.
The Rift just wanted them to have this penta.
Yeah. Last bit of damage did come out from Meech.
Incredible penta coming out from Meech. Well worthy of that.
Yeah.
30 seconds. I've never gotten a penta, so I wouldn't know how long it takes.
Wait, really? Never?
I've gotten it once in ARAM, but you know what?
Hey, ARAM counts. It's the same announcer. They say the same word.
You're right.
Good.
Pentakill.
Penta's a penta regardless where it is.
Another impressive play we should look at. It's Perry's from last week.
Okay, 15 seconds on Manui. They don't have Baron buff to shove in. They could probably get a Nexus turret before everyone spawns. Perry's jumping onto the wave, trying to stop it from getting in here. Team Liquid say, we're ignoring him. Tristana damage to turrets, to structures is too strong, but the minions have spawned. So members of Fear, they got Mir, they got Kim down. Perry's saving the game as Arrow can't get through the gate. Fear, hold the line.
Ooh, game-saving play coming up from the homie. That was nice. Now, but I mean, with all that going on, though, it's we've already seen a couple of these as it is, and I'm sure we want to try to see more as well as time goes on, right? But Nate, quick thoughts on the play so far? Yeah, these are cool.
These are cool. I mean, that's my vote personally, but of course, there's still the Twitter vote going on. You can vote in Twitch chat at the moment as well. You obviously vote for Perry's game-saving play, which I look at you right now.
I'm pretty on board with that one as well.
That's the one. You guys have been fighting me from day one in Summer Split, but this time, please, we need to be aligned. That play was so good.
It was so nice. It's like he's done incredible stuff, and and as Ned was saying, y'all go ahead, get your votes in right now. The poll should be up. Go ahead, look at that. Press your little fingers and buttons. But we're also gonna press all the fingers and buttons and take a look back at the NALCQ last week.
Challengers League fans, it's Alk. Team Ambition and Winthrop University were our finalists in the LCS Challengers League qualifiers, and we wanted to highlight some of the players you might see at the promotion tournament in a few months. As the only Team Ambition member returning from spring, Kachu has been impressive this whole year. Kachu has a trained eye for all-ins, and he loves to play on the edge as a melee specialist. He thrives on champions like Jason Yone while still having those pocket picks like Echo and his Yasuo. We're excited to see how Kachu and the rest of Team Ambition continue to dominate after their first tournament win this last week. Denethor had great performances on Tempest Gaming last year and now joins former challengers Mobility and Sword on this Winthrop University roster. Denethor has not shied away from playing engaged for the team, but he still has a love for those fighters like his Cassante or his infamous Camille. With a new roster from Spring and Coach Artemis of Evil Geniuses fame, Denethor and the Winthrop Eagles look to soar into an NACL position.
And thank you very much, Dimitri, for that update on the qualifiers. We should go ahead and announce who did end up getting that play of the week, and it is the Perry.
That's what I'm talking about, Twitch. You guys really pulled through for me this week.
Yeah,
Please continue to do so for the following playoffs.
It's the way it should be, because there's a sword and a shield. You know, we always hype up the people who made the sword plays. Well, that was a shield play. That was a bodyguard play coming out from Perry. It deserves the hype.
We're going to look at it again. I mean, look at this. Like, the fact that he was able to hold off that entire wave and buy time for the rest of the team to show up. Yeah, by himself. And look what he does too. Because mirror him down, take turret shots, he immediately jumps in and also gets the double kill. Like, it couldn't be better. And of course, Miracle on to win this very game.
On
Go
a
ahead and check their Twitter, by the way. They do have the voice comms of that exact play up, which is always hyped to hear.
Incredible stuff. But as speaking of incredible, we should talk a bit about a standings where we stand. Nice. Going into this week too, it is the last week before playoffs here, gentlemen. Destructs, things are getting closer and closer.
Oh, I'm trembling when I look at that bottom three. I see Maryville hanging on a ledge right now, and they look down. Taco's holding a leg. Underneath them, Supernova's holding another. At the end of this all, we're going to have this all decided. This is our final week of the regular season, so that bottom three, it is ever so contentious, man.
Nate, when I look at this too, I feel like also just the top as well. TLC might just take top spot, but Fly and Wildcard are also right there.
They are, but really, the thing I'm more concerned about is you see that little red line right there. Yeah. Those bottom three teams trying to fight for that top 8 spot, and that's the big thing to keep an eye out. It's not locked in like we may have seen during the spring split. The games of Maryville, Taco, and SN are things you definitely need to keep an eye in, because even though MU are 8th currently, it's still possible that they fall out.
Exactly, and we'll probably get a glimpse into that as we move into our matches of the day and what we can experience for ourselves here, gentlemen, on this stream. Of course, we have Wildcard and EGC to start things off, and then Disguise versus Supernova. And to round out our day, it's one of those teams below the red line and one way above. That's TLC going up against Taco. Tough calls all around, a lot of back and forth.
Yeah, I mean, the two teams we just talked about of the three who are fighting to make it to top 8, Supernova and Taco have very tough weekends ahead of them, and it starts with some of their toughest opponents. If either of these teams can get a win against these teams at the top of the standings in DSG and TLC, that would do wonders for their chances to actually make it into playoffs.
And just a reminder, Supernova face off against DSG, they face off against AoE, FlyQuest. Taco, they're going against TLC, as you can see, FlyQuest and Maryville University. These are pretty rough schedules that they're going to have to go through, so you know what, you're going to be watching this very closely over the week to see who's actually going to make it. Again, top 8 make it to playoffs, bottom 2 are going to be in that promotion tournament.
So let's talk about our potential top teams. If you look over at EGC real quick, the roster we've seen in and out. Of course, with Sturdy joining up in the lineup. Nate, quick thoughts. This team's look better and better.
They have. The last weekend was the best we've seen from them. Not just all split, but all year. Ryoma finally playing up to that potential we were so excited about when we saw him pop up here into Challengers League after taking a break. This team is looking great.
They are, but on the other end, a team that might have sucked, that's Wildcard here, Eric, who, they themselves have gone back and forth, pretty split in the timings, but I think they might be able to pull it off this week.
Yeah, they've had a lot of inconsistencies. And when they're firing at their best, they're the only team to take down Team Liquid. We get situations like that. When they're firing at their worst, suddenly they're splitting games between Taco Gaming. I mean, as we work through those and talk about it a bit more, we do have an interview clip we're going to bring up that really talks about some of the inconsistencies you're trying to work with. Getting everyone to be on the same page when it comes to that 5v5, when it comes to that team fight. Last year, it was a wildcard special. This year, it's still there, but you can tell that they need a little work to do, need a little bit of polishing to do to make sure you keep it back up to snuff.
And you already mentioned it, so let's go look a little bit as to what Donbray thinks about the process of parallel thought, right? Because like you're saying, to get everybody on the same page is tough enough as it is. Nate, you talked to him about it, right? Just trying to get as much as you could, because Donbray and everybody else try to make sure that this team holds together. You want to give us a little sneak peek as to what he says, or no? What do you think, Nate? You think they could?
I think we should. Sorry, I thought that was your throw, but yes, we do have that Donbray interview, which I actually did.
Let's go look at that.
Here. Let's go see what he said.
Well, our mid game kind of sucks, and we just like in mid game for no reason. So that's probably why we look kind of weird this week. Yeah.
What do you mean when you say like into mid game? Are you not rotating properly for objectives? You dying randomly? Like what is it?
Like everything. We just suck at mid game. We die. We int. Yeah.
You literally mean just top to bottom, mid game for wildcard dog water is what you're saying.
Yeah. I'm kind of leaking, but.
So now we can talk about what Donbray said here. Thoughts?
I mean, it's what we noticed already into that series and how they were playing on that weekend. So I took the time when I got to interview them after winning that second game to just get his thoughts on it. And I agree, Wildcard do seem like they are very desynced in the mid game. It's not going as well for them as it did last split, even in the first round robin, where they actually did look really strong, were potentially being one of those top teams we thought they could be with that addition of Zamudo. But you can see it in the clips that we have loaded up that even in some of these team fights that they win, these players aren't all on the same page. What Donbray said really starts to ring true. Just because of the fact that you can see how desynced they are in these team fights. Some people going in while some staying out, and it's just clear that they're not on the same page.
Let's go look at those team fights right now as well, just to see exactly what you're talking about with Donbray as well. Because look, we got it right in front of us, right? It's Eric. Teams seem to be just a bit everywhere for them.
Yeah, it does get rather scattered. I think it's kind of still adjusting to where Zamudo fits with his squad when it comes to team play more than anything else, because there has been some quiet communication that Saligo had alluded to, that Zamudo's not the most vocal when it comes to that position. That's okay. He can play really well when it comes to the lane and get a lot of those team fights rolling. Where it's not okay is once we get into that team fight situation, as Beatdown was talking about. Things need to click together as a whole team. Otherwise, can fall apart at the seams and get dismantled by a lot of these teams like FlyQuest and Team Liquid, who are looking pristine in this late season.
Exactly that, right? And they'll be looking to face tougher and tougher opponents as they go on throughout the week as well, too. Because like we already mentioned, this is the last week before playoffs, so every single win matters at this point. And as of right now, for Wildcard as well, Nate, right? Today is going to have to be the day that we see these inconsistencies come together and they polymerize into a cohesive squad.
It's going to be really hard because going from week to week, there's only so much that you can do to work on struggles like that. And they're versing Evil Genius Challengers today, who have been looking fantastic these last couple of weeks. Much more coordinated, much more intent with a lot of the plays and decisions that they make. So I agree with you. Wildcard, against an opponent like this, they do need to show us more of what we saw last split in the first round robin. And when they 2-0'd Team Liquid Challengers in week 4, we need to see that come out today again.
Exactly that, right? Because on the other end, as you were saying, their opponents, EGC, have looked better and better, in part due to their addition of Surdy coming in. We're looking at Oaks being on top potentially, as all the players are really meshing together. And the record they've had, Eric too, has looked incredible with him joining too, right? I know he's feeling real confident about it. And going into this week too, they may look to continue that streak. But I feel like they're coming in with their chest held high thinking, we got this. And there's a reason why. Because Surdy, in fact, tweeted out saying like, yo, it's 7-1 right now, baby. In the last 8 weeks, Eric, he is feeling himself.
This is feeling great for Surdy. For the rest of the squad, this is relief. For Surdy, it's just like, it's another day in the park, baby. Because Evil Geniuses, that first round robin, it was a real rough
train
time
wreck?
for them. Yeah, it was a train wreck. That's
tragedy. You know?
That's putting it lightly, Beatdown.
Yeah.
As unfortunately, when they had Soul on the squad, it didn't seem like they could actually come together as a whole team, despite the level of individual play each and every one of those players had. Surdy joining along has really seemed to remedy that. Now they're playing to a lot of these game plans they make on the Rift and executing them oh so well. It's definitely nice to see, especially for a player like Surdy, who I felt like should have been here in Challengers League this split. I was kind of bummed not seeing him on the roster, but now that he is, yeah, now we're seeing why we love him so much.
I just thought of a really dumb joke too, based on what you were saying. They're doing it so well. It's
hey, there you go.
That's good. Intended that, I swear.
Okay, yeah.
And one thing I want to add too is having someone like Surdy, who we believe is absolutely Challengers caliber, be on the squad is so good too, because Supernova were the only team we saw actually play towards their top side in Quacker, but actually now that Surdy is here, EG do play towards them, and it's actually done wonders for their early game. So he actually has such a big impact, even though, you know, we talk about LoL top lane, no impact and all that kind of stuff. He's been good.
Let's see the impact that they did manage to make with a couple of clicks that we have as well, looking back at EGC's previous weeks. So far, that's right. You were talking about it too. You were hailing these guys as just solid.
So look at this first one. This clip is actually like a minute 20 seconds long. I shortened it down to just where the fight happened. What you're not seeing is FlyQuest poking the living daylights out of EGC and King saying, I can just press W and all that is undone. It was a very, very solid game plan coming out of EGC, but that has been the theme of Evil Geniuses so far. They execute beautifully on these plans they set. For this one, it was a 1-3-1. You have Surdy on Kennen, you have Ryoma on LeBlanc. They both grab static shivs and they play strictly to the 1-3-1. They don't allow FlyQuest a situation where they can force into the 5v5, and that is what is so interesting about this level of Team Liquid and this new version of Team Liquid, excuse me, Evil Geniuses that we're seeing right now.
Indeed.
It's the fact that their execution has stepped up tremendously now that they have Surdy.
The Keikaku is simple, and the Keikaku, I'm sure what that means, plan is to win at this point, which is what they're trying to do. And as we look towards game number 1, it is going to have to be that EGC won it, but can Wildcard take it? Gentlemen, I'll leave it up to y'all. The draft is in front of us. Let's get into it.
Oh boy. Now, I'm personally just excited about this whole day because how nice is it having Ravish back? We haven't been with this dude in so long, man, and
it might actually be the UPL days like he was talking about long time ago. Now we are reunited for a day, which feels good.
And shout out to the LEC. Just saw that a raid came in. Welcome to the North American Challengers League, the Tier 2 of North America, where players currently are on their final week of the season. This is week number 6 before we head into playoffs. And if you're new, you got a banger of a matchup right here. Evil Geniuses Challengers, the momentum on their side. Wildcard, definitely a hot topic, looking for some consistency.
Absolutely. And now we get kind of more into the draft and see what things are popping up. We've seen the meta, even though we've been on the same patch for a few weeks now. We saw some of these adaptions come through here. Tristana, for one thing, is basically perma-banned at this point, which is good. Really strong champ. But also the Seraphine, it's not just Cincinnati Fear who are pulling it out. It has been a pretty strong response to the Zig, so I'm wondering if we're going to see either of these things start to come out, because of course both of these teams have shown they were willing to pick those champs.
Now, first pick coming out for Wildcard. The thing about Wildcard, when you go against them, they do have a lot of pocket picks. And when I say a lot of pocket picks, it's a champion ocean of stuff they can flex around. Even Soligo has been able to flex some tanks into the mid lane. But right now, Nico is left available. And again, you can flex this one around. First pick for Wildcard, the Nico.
I'm curious. We saw Tomio play it into the jungle. This kind of spicy picks are what we see from Keel as well, so I am wondering if that's what Wildcard are going to go for. Either way, despite the nerfs, strong picks still on this current patch, and EGC are going to respond with a very safe bot laner for King, and champs like Nico are exactly why Xayah is so popular at the moment. That Feather Storm is going to be really important to keep him alive.
And King is up beast on Xayah, especially in this season, has played 5 games on it, hasn't lost a single one, 12.8 KDA. One of the most consistent players on the Evil Geniuses Challengers, even through some of the rough times they've had. Now Wildcard, they're gonna throw their bottom lane into the fray as they grab the Aphelios and Nautilus.
Yeah, so already you're just seeing them commit to that all-in. The rest of Wildcard's comp's just going to be playing around this Aphelios, trying to make it so that you can enable Lens to succeed on one of his big comfort champions here. And I like the response, too, from Ryoma. He's been a big Syndra player. This split has a handful of games compared to a lot of other players, 0 in Summer Split. And it's really nice into what we already see so far. That Scatter of the Week is going to be a nice way for EGC to make space in these team fights when you have someone chasing you like Nautilus and Nico.
Make space and get great pick. I've always loved Syndra for that, especially if you can play to a support that can follow up with that pick. Nautilus was one of the popular ones, but Rel can still pull that out, does now have a stun, and of course the Magnet Storm. So a lot of synergy coming up and a lot of early game skirmish that I see coming out from Evil Geniuses.
Yeah, and the Rel is actually a big concern for me, because when I look at 80 carries like Jinx, Aphelios, and the like, who are very low mobility, and you don't have something that can peel for you, like Tom Kench, like Thresh, and you're looking down the barrel of a Rel on the other team, you need to make a nice little circle for this Aphelios to go through here. I'm talking tank top for Zamudo, things to make space and offer some sort of peel, because it's clear that Wildcard are going for this huge Lens composition where you are playing more for him, and in that late game, setting him up to succeed.
I mean, one of the best Aphelios players we have in the league is Meech, and oftentimes you see DSG kind of play tanks around Meech to just set it up and make sure that Meech gets to the late game where you see him pop off. That's the power of Aphelios. You can scale up very, very well into that late game and just be that 1 versus 5 against the world, go full John Wick on him. But we are finishing up the second phase of the draft. Top laners banned for Wildcard. Going for the jungle pool as well as that top pool with the Rumble banned away. Shaden's going to go on the tried, the true, the carry, the Viego locked in.
Yeah, and I like that for 2 reasons. One, you get shaded on something comfortable, and you give Surdy the opportunity to get that counter pick. We talked about how we set him up as someone who they play to a lot, so giving him that space is really good. And Wildcard, though, it is not going to be the Nico jungle. Instead, Keel is going to bring out the Bel'Veth for the second time this split. He brought it out against TLC during the second round robin and had a monster and mammoth of a performance. And of course, Zamudo going for the Ornn makes perfect sense considering everything we had just talked about.
Yeah, that TLC game that Wildcard had was pretty freaking wild.
Smoked him.
Because it was some pretty set game plans coming through. I think it was Zamudo playing a lot of Rumble, which you see EGC have banned. The Bel'Veth was definitely a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
And a reminder, that was a 2-0. The only 2-0 Team Liquid took on the season was delivered to them by Wildcard.
And looking at Wildcard's composition, like you can see it, it's for this Bel'Veth, it's for this Aphelios. Keel, so good at finding these angles, invading, denying resources from the enemy, as well as increasing everything he's able to get for himself. This game is going to very quickly become about him because of how Bel'Veth works as a champion, so keep an eye on what Wildcard are going to be able to do to set him up early. EGC, I love the Gwen pick coming through here. Gwen and Syndra as solo laners, both really good at offering space creation's ability to disengage. And considering Wildcard have this composition, going for the all-in, I think EGC also have a pretty good composition, and they have a lot of tools and ways to respond with how Wildcard want to fight.
So first game's draft now complete. How are we feeling right now? I do feel like we've established what these teams are, pretty set in standard, and the way they like to play. This is not deviating too much from the standard path here, and this is the time where you expect more consistency and more playing towards those things that have worked in the past, as it is the last week of the split. Wildcard are trying to make that run for at least second place. It's going to be very hard to get first. Evil Geniuses still making their deep late season run. How are we feeling, Beat?
I mean, for one thing, I think TLC would have to go like 0-6, which is basically impossible for them to lose their first place spot. But overall, I agree with what you're saying. Wildcard going to this style of composition that is comfort for them is important, especially with how they struggled last week. In spring, one thing we talked about a lot with their drafts is that they would basically abandon any semblance of lane matchups and only draft for 5v5. Yeah. This time around, they've definitely put more thought into their laners and the matchups, but it is still for that 5v5 that they love to play. So if this is going to work, we can't see the Wildcard we saw last week, DeserX, where they were struggling to connect properly in these team fights and actually utilize the team fight tools that they have.
And also keep in mind, taking a look at the schedule that Wildcard do have, a little bit of Moonbait right now coming out from Kill. It is still on the tougher side. So if Wildcard don't have the most spectacular week, there is a realistic chance that Evil Geniuses can suddenly race over towards that top 4.
Right.
At least get around towards 5th place. So Evil Geniuses, they're wanting a 6-0 week, and they have to bring their best performance right out the gate.
And the way that starts this game is shutting down Keel in the early game. I like the split towards that top side that Keel is going for here. Take away some of these top camps because you have a mid laner that's going to get you that push early on in the Nico. And I'm keeping my eyes on how much Keel is going to be able to steal. And like I said, it's so important for EGC to shut him down. So keep an eye on any invades that Shaden might potentially go for. And what I also want to see from them is trying to deny that Rift Herald there, which means Surdy. Yeah. He's got to put a lot of damage into Zamudo on the top side so that big neutral objective that Velvet loves so much is denied.
And we know Wildcard will go balls to the wall to take that Rift Herald. Without a doubt. They did it in the past against TLC where it was like, okay, we didn't really win the fight, but we got the Herald, and that's all that matters because we got something for kill. So they're not shy to take some of these fights. As we do look at the lane states coming right now, it is going to be a vertical jungling coming out for both junglers as Kill finishes up the quadrant of the red side.
Oh, a dive. We have a dive.
And now going to follow it up straight with a dive into the mid lane, looking for Ryoma. Snare's not going to land. Shaden is here, and Smoothie has roamed up. Oh, Smoothie.
That might be... I don't know if that's spectator.
Okay. We'll see in just a second. We'll take a look at the replay of that. Flash coming out from Saligo. Double
nice
snare
read.
from Saligo.
Smoothie.
Perfectly used. Smoothie still going for the chase. Will get the stun. Blast Plan is there. Just to chip more damage to get that Ignite to go through, but Saligo will not fall.
Wow, EGC, they committed so much there, and they couldn't end up taking Saligo out of the picture. They just end up going flash for flash, but also Smoothie uses Flash 30, uses Ghost, uses that priority to try and make something happen. But Wildcard is a big deal for them that they managed to live, but this actually opens up the opportunity for Shaden. Steal away this blue buff, get a bit of an advantage over on him here. So we saw that kind of invade from both sides here. So I'm wanting to see where these junglers are going to go in about 30 seconds to a minute's time when these Raptors respawn. Taking away first camps, Eric, I don't care about that. What are you doing about the respawn? Are you getting that extra bonus XP coming through here? I happen to notice Shaden's Raptors are coming back, and I want to see him go there so that Keel doesn't snag it away from him.
I already saw the pings on the map, and those pings were blue onto Shaden's Raptor camp.
Yep.
So you can tell it's in the thought right now of Wildcard. Shaden just backing on this blue side quadrant. Not too far off from Zamudo, but the thing about a Viego is you're not really going to go for the early fights too often. You do want to get a couple of items in before you do become that threat. And if anyone can become that threat, it's definitely Shaden. We remember the double Chichet spree he went on. Viego was one of the main champions he played for it.
Right. Such a big run that he had on that champion. And now you see, actually, what we were talking about is coming through. The pings are happening. For Keel. He's going to go and try and take those Raptors away. A nice hold from Ryoma will... Yeah, exactly. Will reveal him. So I wonder if EGC are actually going to go for the contest and try and deny it.
They got the entire river warded up thanks to that Scuttle Crab. So Kill will be spotted out.
Oh, he's going.
Smoothie was roaming up, but now going to back off. I want to see what Shaden's going to do right here. You do got some prio coming out from Ryoma just from the natural fact that it's next to his lane. Walks over. Ooh, flash coming out from Kill. He's looking to run out of this one. Might be dead to rights. That's exactly the case. Ryoma gets first blood.
Ooh, not a great start there coming through. The ward gave EG that perfect opportunity to make the play happen, and Ryoma got to move first. So now it's Shaden who's got a lead here. Now it's EGC who got that lead we wanted to see from them if they are going to come out on top in this game. So what are they going to be able to do with it? Of course, Shaden gets some gold that he's going to be able to back with. And he has opportunities to move towards this bottom side. His bot lane is pushed in. I'm just saying, Lens is right up against that tower. It's a pretty prime gank opportunity.
Heading into that direction is going to be Kill, though, over towards top side. Shaden might go for that angle you were mentioning earlier. Does have his Gromp up. Kill stocks over for Surdy. Be a good setup for Zamudo. Just needs to get that knockup in. Surdy should be able to go down soon, but instead, playing it safe is going to be Surdy. Kill will back off. Shaden's still onto that side of the map, but does not see the angle to go for the gank as the recalls were already phoned in by Wildcard.
Yeah, and EG, there was a ward that Surdy had placed, so it ended up spotting Keel. Really nice from him to avoid that gank, so he gets the back and TP with those extra stats and the blasting one. This is really tough right now for Wildcard. Keel, he's falling behind because he wasn't able to get the Raptor respawn. He ended up dying. That is time he's spending off the map. And as Bel'Veth falling behind, it does feel pretty bad, especially if you are not strong enough to fight for that Rift Herald there. He wanted that top play onto Surdy to give Zamudo that space to be a little bit stronger when we get to that 8-minute mark. And we're getting real close to SRX, so we got to see if Wildcard are going to be able to grab it.
Well, you always got to keep in mind, Bel'Veth is really, really low range. He's melee, obviously. Yeah. Getting that first Rift Herald and all the resource stats that come with it, it's very important for Bel'Veth to get that final form, that transformation, and be able to stick into these fights, get those resets to stick into these fights. So Kill doesn't want to be paper, wants to make sure he takes the right angle to get there, and he's already into that direction right now as his camp starts spawning towards the Rift Herald, and we still have another 30 seconds before this.
All right, I'm keeping my eyes on bot lanes on both sides to see what kind of rotations are coming through. Already we're seeing Lens and Dawnbray both moving up, not going for the reset after shoving that wave in. So King can move, but he will be late. It's looking like EG might have to back off.
Ooh, a nice scatter of the week, flashed. Ryoma gets away, but this is what Wildcard are looking for. They're able to get the mid laner's flash. They've called up their bottom lane to set up for this Rift Herald.
Yeah, it's a big commitment here for Wildcard. Basically, all 5, meaning EG, are just going to back off. They're going to use this opportunity to let King push, get a plate or 2 on the bottom side. You will come out net positive because of how much the Herald takes, and of course the gold on execution, and of course heal on the Bel'Veth. You get the true form for 3 minutes. It's a big pickup here for Wildcard because of that commitment topside.
Yeah, but again, remember, King is undefeated on this Xayah so far and has a very nasty KDA with it. So him getting alone time in this bottom lane is still playing towards a condition that Evil Geniuses can go for. There's so much going to take away from the fishies.
Yeah, really good call here. Rotating basically most of the team to this top side to get all these plates. Lens being a part of this as well is so big. EG are a little late to this, but Keel is going to get this Herald in. It won't totally take the turret, but so much gold right away. They actually might be able to take it down. It's an incredible gold swing here for Wildcard, who in the early levels maybe didn't get everything that they wanted, but I'll tell you what, Eric, they wanted that.
You know, they moved everyone up towards Rift Herald because you need to get Kill to catch back up, so it's okay to sacrifice that for your bottom lane. He's caught up. He's more than caught up now. 3.5k gold after that huge cash in the topside beat.
Dude, they feel wonderful. King, 2 plates? Ah, whatever, man. How about a whole turret there for Lens and Keel, who are at the top of the charts like you're highlighting here. And remember, when Bel'Veth comes through, she's that kind of champion where the game basically becomes all about her. If Keel is getting what he wants in this game, Heralds, farm, able to just keep on fighting, especially with how good Wildcard scale. Wildcard are well on track to win this game, DeserX. EGC, if they're able to deny him, take things away from him, get kills onto him, and get shade and resetting, that is their only way to win this game.
Realistically, though, EGC have a lot of damage, so they can get to that state. They can fight back. Definitely not dead and out yet, but as we get towards the 5v5, you know, Wildcard are very favorable into there. Even with the situation they have with Zamudo, they're still one of the most dominant teams when it comes to the 5v5 situation and formulating these team fights. Zamudo is on something that contributes to that, certainly with the Ornn. Damage that Evil Geniuses will bring got to be respected for the skirmishes, for the neutral objectives, because they're definitely not out of this match.
No, not at all. And we talked about in Champ Select the disengage tools they have. The Gwen, really good at absorbing dive because of her Hallowed Mist. Ryoma, the Scatter of the Weak. A lot of tools for EGC to play these fights and to get picks. That's really the way they're going to get this one done. And speaking of picks, Zamudo's here. Soligo is a minion. They really don't like Ryoma. Yeah, I know. He's just sitting on his turret. He's like, nice try. You can't fool me. I know how to count minions.
There's 7 minions in this wave, and not one of them is a cannon. I ain't falling for these shenanigans. And even Ryoma, when the shenanigans aren't set up, he's still paying respects to it. I mean, there's not much vision for Evil Geniuses on that side, so they have to.
I mean, we got to talk a little bit about Ryoma too. He's been playing so much better these last 2 weeks.
Way better.
Oh my goodness. In spring, in the first bits of summer, it wasn't looking good. We were worried that we weren't going to see that potential when we've seen him in the academy system before and his stints in the tier 3 space. And he's able to turn it around. He's even talked about in interviews how the turnaround feels so good for them. They feel like they are all on the same page at this point at Evil Genius Challengers, and it's shown in how they've been able to play these last couple weeks.
It was a little bit disappointing, as you were saying, for the start of summer to see Ryoma have such a slump.
Yeah.
Because we know the caliber of player he is. He's gone head-to-head with the likes of JoJo back when he was in Academy, with Harry,
Right.
who is now back in Academy.
But was in LCS?
Yeah. And, I mean, with that, Tommy has always been in that top picture. To see him not in it was quite a surprise, but now to see this all clicking and coming together for Evil Geniuses, and to see his game step up again, it has been an absolute joy to watch over Evil Geniuses' last couple of matches. Even with some of those more strict comps that they were running, it's very nice to see Ryoma can now flex around just being a carry.
Right. It's been a good look to see that one come through here. And we talk about being on the same page. Wildcard haven't been doing a lot of that lately, as we've been kind of talking a lot about today and even during their last couple of matches on the broadcast. So now, this game has been going better for them, but what Donbray talked about was mid-game, where they start to troll. So, in a couple minutes time, plates are out of the picture, tier 1 start to go down. That's where I'm watching Wildcard to not overextend in the side lane, die randomly, as he said, and keep this lead they've gotten for themselves, even though it is small.
Evil Genius is getting a lot of vision around the dragon at the moment that does spawn in 30 seconds. They do have some good priority from both King and Smoothie. Kind of the natural state of Azaya, just having the feathers provides a good amount of wave clear. But it really does look like this is going to be the focus for Evil Geniuses. Look how well lit this river is.
Yeah, you see a lot of wards coming through here and a lot of pressure to allow EGC to keep stacking dragons. Even though they have ways to TP. Oh, okay.
Go. Shaden starting it off early before anyone can really come back in. Donbray comes in. Death Charge able to land onto Ryoma. Call the Force God runs through. And now, can Wildcard do it? They're starting to run low. Sligo tries to get out. Gets autoed by King. Feathers flying. Looking for Zamudo. Wants to flash over the wall. Will get to safety. But the same can it be said for kill? Absolutely not. 3 fall. All for Ryoma. And Evil Geniuses win out.
And they swing the goal back into their favor. That was a big skirmish they needed, and it's going to allow them to secure the Drake. Okay, King, says red and white. He is down to fight. Oh, my goodness.
Woo! King is here to play, man. Throws down with Lens. If he got that root, Lens was down. Really felt the moment, but even forcing out the flash was huge.
We got to see this one again. Big thing to know, the bot lane of Evil Geniuses moved much faster. They pushed the wave in because Donbray already had roamed. And you see, because of the position of this fight, Lens had to take some pretty inopportune pathing. Watch him on the minimap here. So much happened, even though it started off well for Wildcard, before this Aphelios was ever going to get into the picture. And even with the Bel'Veth in this game, we talked about a chance select, how important it is for Lens to be able to get off damage. Well, how about 0 damage for a team fight?
And this is a worst case scenario now. Kills are on Shaden. If Shaden gets money, if Shaden gets going, he can carry this game to the holy high heavens. And he's on Diego, his bread and butter. You know, some consolation prizes coming out for Kill right there, as he is able to get the Rift Herald, so still able to swing that gold back for Wildcard, depending on where he places it, depending on who he gets going. But Shaden is going right now. I'm going to be keeping my eye on him.
Absolutely, and Keel gets that true form ultimate again for 3 minutes as a result. Does have the Herald to play with as well, so keeping an eye on both Keel and Donbray. Has been syncing up with Keel to look for some of these plays here. Mid is usually in these kinds of game states where we'll see teams go for, just to make it easier to break open the map. But there is a genuine option that Wildcard could instead set up the dive on the side lane and use the Herald to get a turret that way.
Right now, it's Evil Geniuses kind of piling in over the Raptor camp. You catch that wave that's being thrown in by King. I was curious if they were trying to set up a bait on the King right there, but no, they're just camping out in the jungle a little bit longer. For this early game so far, you got to give credit over to Evil Geniuses. They played it well. They've made Wildcard dance to their rhythm over that last fight. And this is now going to be in Evil Genius's hands for quite some time before the scaling does come online for Wildcard.
Yeah, we're looking 2 items for Lens and Keel. We're talking about level 14 for Zamudo. That's a big swing when you get those ornaments to come through here. For the moment, the entire team basically has moved to this mid lane to open up the map like we talked about and seeing what they can catch out from Evil Genius's side. It's not going to be anything. Ryoma looking for that scatter of the week. He doesn't find it.
Wasn't able to get the stun. Evil Genius is trying to reply to the pressure. Tower goes down nonetheless. Nice for Wildcard. It does open up the map a little bit for them to get deeper wards going through. And now, Wildcard kind of eyeballing this bottom lane at the moment. And is Ori the wiser to it, or is he? Kind of sniffs something, smells a foul over here, B.
He does, but Keel, okay, you know, it's Bel'Veth. He's got a lot of movement. Can just go in, see what he can find, and go out. Good move there from Evil Geniuses. That's right, to recognize that potential play coming through here.
It's a stench.
Yeah, they smelled something was off, and they knew they had to get to the bottom of it.
17 minutes into this so far. Gold basically dead even. It's the objectives that are going to go in favor of Evil Geniuses. 2 dragons picked up for them 2 minutes before dragon goes spawn. Now Surdy under attack by Kill. Will be able to get the sidestep away. Not getting knocked up. No issue there. Wildcard still putting on the pressure into the bottom lane, but where are Evil Geniuses looking to apply theirs?
It's got to be this bottom side of the map. Right now, you see Shaden clearing top. You see Ryoma trying to push out some waves as well, maybe get some damage onto Zamudo. But the dragon is what Evil Geniuses have to focus on. A minute 30 until that spawns. It is their sole point, and Infernal Soul will do wonders for them in that mid to late game, Desterx. And that's the big thing they have to focus on now. You're seeing Zamudo recall. He can come back top, use that teleport to join the fight on towards that dragon pit. But I want to see EGC start setting up there right now.
Wildcard, they want to beat Evil Geniuses to the punch, because if they're walking into a river that is controlled by Evil Geniuses, that makes you susceptible to the Scatter of the Weak as well as Smoothie's Magnet Storm. So having some vision already there for Wildcard is nice. If they really want to contest this, they got to start expanding it. Got to start expanding it soon.
Right. Remember, EGC, they still have a lot of ways to fight into this mid to late game. The big thing you want to be looking at, focus down someone like Lens. The lack of mobility on a champion like this is something that Smoothie can take advantage of, something Ryoma would be able to take advantage of with that Scatter of the Weak. And that's something you gotta imagine EGC are looking to do here. As now you look at the bottom side here, they are starting to push their line of vision a little bit. And you gotta imagine Dragon Time is coming through here. We're seeing Ryoma back. I'm sure he's gonna just TP mid after getting his second item.
Yeah, you already had 1 second item completed on King, got his Navori Quick Blades. Ryoma finishes off the Void Staff, so this is Evil Geniuses getting ready for the Dragon fight. Wildcard, they weren't setting up in that direction. It does look like they wanted to get more positioning onto the Rift Herald. Well, not Rift Herald, it's actually the Baron that's spawning soon. I forgot we've gone through our Rift Heralds already. Yeah. But Evil Geniuses now starting up the Inferno. Yeah,
this is a bad fight for Wildcard. So they're wisely walking away, which I'm really happy about, because Evil Geniuses, they were on 2 item spikes here. Ryoma got that was that. King had the Navori Quick Blades. They were ahead of their respective opponents. So now they're just going to do the Baron on spawn. Evil Geniuses, they know something is wrong. I don't know if the damage is quite there yet. Lens isn't on 2 items, but they're risking it.
Oh, 5k remains. Don't forget, Shaden just got a steal last week. Is he going to be able to do it again? And he does! Shaden, steal number 2, get 1 per week in the wrong place for that Nautilus to feed, because King will delete him. Featherstorm comes out, they go flying, but not close enough to kill to get the snare. Still trying to look for the disengage. It is going to be Wildcard, but Smoothie wants to put an end to that. Zamudo goes right back in. Sligo has to bail.
Look at Lens.
Looking to be a sacrificial lamb, able to get 1 through for Lens. The fight returning from Wildcard. Oh. How much more do they have? It's a full health Lens. 1 more knockup coming out. Found on Smoothie. Zamudo unable to land anything, but King will land it all. Now Lens doesn't have much protection left for him. Kill flashes over the wall to get the shutdown. It's back and forth between these 2 squads. A 2 for 2, but Evil Geniuses, thanks to Shaden, will get the Turo Baron.
Wildcard, they did not play for the turn. They thought they could burst it down, go for the 50-50, and it just went so tremendously wrong, Tesseract. Even though they made the fight look somewhat close, EGC still come out on top because of the upfront gold, because they still have such a big buff there in the Turo Baron buff to play with now, and it's going to be exactly what they need to set themselves up for a Dragon Soul.
Shaden keeps doing it. He got a Baron still last week, B. He does it again. You can't try and flip Barons against this guy.
Yeah, this was a dangerous move coming through here from Wildcard. They knew the risks and thought they could win the 50-50, but Shaden wins these, I fear. And the fight afterwards just gets even more difficult. Dawnbreak dies before anyone can actually do anything here, and you can see it. Lens, another fight where he isn't able to actually do as much damage as he wants to. You see where he's zoned off? He's only getting a few Calibrum Qs in there, which is letting him get those long-range autos, but it really isn't much compared to the damage King's putting out, the damage Shaden and Ryoma are outputting.
In a long, drawn-out fight, it does show you that the 5v5 for Wildcard is very, very capable, but this was just an incredible call coming out for Evil Geniuses, letting Shaden go for that steal and take it away from Wildcard. I mean, a Baron steal a week keeps your stand-ins on fleek.
That's right, and it's too bad too, because Wildcard, we talked about it before the Drake. They were behind on items as well on their big carries. There was just no way they had the damage to win out a fight like that. So again, EGC, Turo Baron buff is in their hands. They are playing this game one well. They've been basically running Wildcard around with the exception of that big turret take on the top side of the map. But ever since then, it has been EGC getting just about everything they want.
Now Evil Geniuses setting up for the siege in the bottom lane. Wildcard have Dawnbray in a brush right now, but will be spotted out thanks to that sweeper. Again, Wildcard can go for a 5v5. They have a good comp for it. It's just now they've lost a lot of that, a lot of the gold situation they had earlier where it was dead even. 2.2k swing over to the Geniuses.
There's a big swing at that, and it's going to continue going in their favor. As you can see, mid lane, Surdy is going to go ahead and break down the mid-tier one, opening the map that much more. Evil Geniuses putting more money in their pocket as well. And Evil Geniuses, they want to stay here. They want to pressure and take down this top tier 2. Just continue snowballing this gold lead. We may have a 5v5 on our hands. Wildcard, they look like they're poised to defend this with their lives.
Yeah, and this is a hard take for Evil Geniuses. I mean, King, sure, got a lot of income, can do a lot of damage. Also not the longest range of marksman, so you do got to put yourself in a little bit of a sticky situation to be able to DPS that turret. And ultimately, even though they got some damage onto that bot lane tier 2, they're not really going to get much else for it. This might have been a delay for the Dragon Soul, which is coming up in 35 seconds. Evil Geniuses already on the reset.
Yeah, but look at the bottom side of the map here. Pink wards in all the right spots. So much vision and so much of the map being dark there for Wildcard. This is the dragon they have to fight. They sacrificed the tier, the soul point because they weren't strong enough, and they tried to flip the Baron. None of that worked out, and Wildcard, this entire game one could be hinging on this next fight here. And I like the EG getting this wave in, trying to take this turret, giving Wildcard that first setup, and then they're just going to enter through mid on the top side.
Yeah. Yeah, Evil Geniuses, they don't really got to focus onto this dragon if they don't want to. They can keep pressuring mid, but taking that tower was fine enough, and they fancy themselves a fight. They know they have the lead at the moment. They know what this means. Dragon Soul, Shaden setting up, can kill, get it. All the Forge God goes out, able to find one knock.
They're on
Shaden running through, but there's the Pop Blossom onto the back line. Here comes Surdy, shipping away at Dawnbray. Smoothie tries to slide out, able to escape.
Lens!
Surdy will grab one onto Lens, and Surdy will take a little off the top and cleave down Wildcard.
And he's cutting down their hopes in this game one. That's the Dragon Soul coming through, and an incredible Gwen performance from Surdy, who we are happy to see back in Challengers League.
And look at that, Evil Geniuses Challengers. It keeps happening, man. This new iteration of them, this new version of them, it is immaculate.
And Wildcard not set up for success in this fight. They're behind in gold stats, every measurable category. They tried to blow up Shaden, and they used everything they had. Smoothie coming in for the save with the ult, limiting the damage is what turned it out, and Shaden lived. That's all your key tools, and nobody even died, while Surdy's like, oh, no one's looking at me? Cool.
Evil Geniuses, they get the teamfight win, but more importantly, they get Infernal Soul. And this is looking like the closing moments now. 26 minutes into this, Evil Geniuses have played this incredibly well, and have gotten gold pretty much across the map. Everyone's got a kill. Even Smoothie's doing his work to be a proper support this time, not a scumbag support, and giving up all those kills, making sure he stacks up on assists.
There it is, 90% kill participation, 0-0-9, as a support should be. He's been finding some great engages so far in this game one. Big part of why EGC, they find themselves at a 7,000 gold lead now, and it's about to jump even further as they go ahead and take another Baron.
This is the power of this star-studded roster that Evil Geniuses have put together. It kind of became a meme at some point that it's the Evil Geniuses that was promised, but I mean, how can you not say that when they're looking this good? Now even Surdy will be able to escape the grasp of Wildcard at this moment.
Yeah.
Because they have to respond to the base.
Exactly. They couldn't chase him too far, and honestly, past a certain point, they just weren't going to catch him. So they're going to use the Turo Baron buff on the side of EGC, especially with these backs being stopped, to take turrets. Tier 3 is down, the inhibitor soon to follow, and Ryoma is leading in another one to get inhibitor turret number 2.
Coming into playoffs, I think this is a team that a lot of people should be afraid of. Evil Geniuses Challengers. King, the most winningest in OPL history, and definitely the most consistent on this roster throughout the season. Ryoma definitely has a history, especially with the 100 Thieves org. Shaden was one of our contenders for most valuable prospect. And now you got Surdy, one of the top lane juggernauts. Man, this team is a threat. And now threatening this bottom lane inhibitor tower under attack. Wildcard have to respond.
And you're seeing a lot of commitment here. There are waves pushing in every lane, supers coming through mid and top, and now there's only one inhibitor left. We're gonna see the double supers in every wave coming through here in every lane, and one wrong step for Wildcard means the end of game one.
Oh, Surdy steps up, takes to the scatter, the weakened Dawn Bray is gone. Call the Forge God goes out, Pop Blossom gets returned, Saligo able to bring it, but he's the one that gets popped, and so do the rest of Wildcard. Whoa, what a performance from Evil Geniuses. They, in this second round robin, seem unstoppable, and it continues the pain train. Evil Geniuses taking game one.
And Evil Geniuses, they have a tough weekend ahead of them, Eric, and it starts here with Wildcard, but they're making it look easy with how they dismantled one of our teams who were tied for second place.
Yes. A team that, a reminder, 2-0 Team Liquid Challengers, our first place team.
Remember that? That was crazy.
Oh, Evil Geniuses, they're just steamrolling through everyone, dude. I mean, this was a good performance. I want to say in every single lane.
Yeah, I mean, everybody played well. Surdy had some insanely clutch moments. I could just go down by the list. Like, everyone was performing, and that's the most exciting thing about this roster and the changes that have been coming through. Because not only is everyone we were expecting to see coming through, everyone is firing on all cylinders, and this team looks fantastic.
And, you know, even with Kill having that setback early on, man, just grab one Rift Herald, take a top lane, take the tower even. Yeah. That was a huge amount of momentum swung back into the favor of Wildcard. Whoa. I went in a different direction. Right
oh,
there.
yeah. We're just lying to the broadcast now? How could you?
I'm sorry. I did like the game plan that Wildcard tried to execute right there, but ultimately Evil Geniuses, man, just too good. Now, we're going to throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll have the Rally Cry halftime show and Ravish on the other side. The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. Find your drive.